Hey, good morning, Eastern Oregon. On this November the 9th, this is EOA Live. What happened there, man?
You must be the rookie. You're new.
Yeah, so you saw Kenn Wheeler. He's our guest. He'll be with us here this morning. But
my
Kyle's
replacement,
in his normal spot. Yeah. Yeah, so welcome to AM Live on EOA Live, your connection to Eastern Oregon.
If he's replacing me, does that mean I don't have to get up on Tuesdays and Thursdays?
I think that mornings are just as complicated for Ken as they are for you. Yeah, he's shaking his head. Yeah, like yeah, he's like, oh, I told him he had to be here at like 8. He's like, I do theater, man.
Yeah, like can we pre-record that, please? Like the night before.
And for people who don't understand, there's only one time to rehearse theater, and it's in the evenings. And so then if you get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, you have a long day. So, but anyhow, so here we are, man. How are you?
It's the second Monday of the week.
The second Monday is Tuesday.
Yeah, I know, the second Monday. And then Thursday's the first Friday. Yeah, that's how I look at it. It makes the week shorter. It makes the week just Wednesday, basically.
Yeah.
If you get two Mondays and 2 Fridays.
So hump day is really just that's the only normal work day.
Yeah.
So how was your weekend and stuff?
It was good. We had the football game on Friday. I got to see Todd Gorm, actually. Todd Gorm refereed that game, that playoff game between Gladstone and LeGrand. And then
good morning, Todd.
There was wrestling this weekend. The volleyball team won both of their games. Football lost again, and then they have their final game of the season this Saturday at EOU at home against Southern. Disappointing season. And
then I saw where the LHS girls lost their game. Is that right?
Soccer, yeah. They lost on the road to Woodburn.
Yeah, so they're out. And then the boys football, LHS football, they play Estacada this Friday in Estacada, which is going to be a tough game.
Yeah, we lost to them 44-14 the first time we played them.
Yeah.
And that was at home too.
Yeah. So that'll be they'll have to rise to the occasion to get by them.
I mean, it's going to be they're a different team now, obviously. I mean, they played them early on.
Right.
But at the same time, it's just it's going to be a challenge.
Yeah. I mean, you had told me earlier that you thought Estacada had a chance of maybe being state champions.
They're third in the state right now. And yeah, I think they're right there.
Yeah.
And then this week on my show, I have a really busy lineup for my show. Starting today, I have the other three senior volleyball players from EOU. So I had Jet last week, who was player of the week last week. And then today I have the other 3 seniors. And then tomorrow I have both of them will end up all conference from the football team. And the kicker will probably be an All-American, the kicker and the punter from the EOU football team. Zach Cahill, Jada Machuca.
Cool.
Yeah, busy week. Brady, what's up? Brady's in town. He moved to Boise, and he's in town visiting his parents. So he stopped by and saw me yesterday.
Yeah, that's right. I saw him. And then on Thursday, we are streaming. We're streaming the Veterans Day Parade, which happens at noon downtown LeGrand. Yeah, and I haven't even told you we got some people that are sponsoring that. Loveland Funerals. Sweet. Yeah, Loveland is sponsoring Loveland Funeral Home and Loveland Safe Ride and Nate Conklin Insurance. So they're all sponsoring that parade. Really appreciate them for doing that. So that'll be kind of a thing.
Well, yeah, because a lot of people aren't going to be able to noon, like on a weekday.
Yeah.
Who comes up with these things? Like,
well, I think
that's like, is there a panel of people that decides this, or just some yahoo sitting in office and say, we're going to have a parade at noon on a Thursday?
Well, it's who decides when Veterans Day is. That's the
well, I
deal.
mean, but okay, Veterans Day is on a Thursday. Why not have the parade at 5:30 when people are off work?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Instead of at noon when people are at work.
I think it's kind of a traditional thing.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think there's some tradition behind it where it's like
traditions are meant to be broken.
Oh yeah, go tell that to veterans.
Well, no, I don't think it's at noon everywhere, is it?
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it is midday.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And besides
if that's why, then that's.
And besides, right now it gets dark. I mean, it's dark at 5.
Parades at night are cool. We have street lights downtown.
Yeah, I can tell you that's in the minds of a lot of people. That's like, it's kind of funny. Tanya was complaining. It's like, it is so depressing when you get off of work and it's dark. I mean, it's just like, it's funny.
You got to get off earlier.
That's right. Well, hey, let's.
It was light today, though. When I got out, when I came, at least it was light in the morning.
Well, yeah, that's the switch, right, man? Yep. It's light in the morning. So, let's see what Gabe.
Looks like crummy weather, like usual this time of year.
That's what Gabe says here.
Rain, cold. It's only. I mean, I guess it's going to get up to 47. It was windy last night.
Man, it blew all night long. It was just crazy. Yeah, I agree.
My garbage can, the garbage goes out on Mondays. My garbage can ended up a block and a half down the road.
And I didn't. Yeah, I mean, it was just sustained wind blowing. I mean, I told Tanya, it's like, man, if it were snowing, it would be blizzard. It would be awful out there.
You'd have drifts. I remember one time when I was in high school, we lived on Washington. Most people know where I grew up, the big yellow house down by Safeway on Washington. And one time it drifted so bad, we had to go out the back door and dig ourselves out of the front of the house.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
With the wind. Yeah.
All right. So this is today. Then tomorrow, it warms up a little bit.
Did you switch it? It looks almost. Oh, okay. Yeah, it does warm up a little. Yeah,
just not.
But it's not going to rain.
Yeah, so it'll be a little drier tomorrow. I wonder what it's going to be like on Thursday. I haven't on Veterans Day. So
good question.
Yeah, hopefully
I mean, rain ain't going to stop me. It ain't going to stop us. I stood out there in the rain for the last parade.
Yeah, I want to put the drone up in the air, and it's not waterproof, so we'll have to see.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I mean, I would imagine it's probably going to rain. If I had to guess.
If I were a gambling person.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, there's rain coming. There's always rain coming.
That's right.
This time of year.
All right. Well, hey, let's bring our guest in. And this is Kenn Wheeler.
Morning.
And Kenn Wheeler is an associate professor at EOU in theater. And Kenn, thanks so much for being with us today.
Not a problem. Well, it was a little bit of a problem, but yeah.
Yeah, getting up part.
Yeah, exactly.
You got here before I did, so you were
it's crazy, isn't it?
I know. Yeah. So, well, Kenn, Kenn and I know each other. We were a few years ago. We were in My Fair Lady together, and so I spent quite a bit of time with Kenn. And I had known you before, but we were just acquaintances before that. And what a pleasure it is it was a pleasure to be in that show with you.
Thank you.
And I've told this story many times that I'm not a great reader, and I played Henry Higgins, which had an enormous amount of lines.
Yep.
And even reading his lines was complicated. It's not, it really was only about 3 weeks before the show before I had all of the stuff together. Anyhow, so, and I hadn't been in theater I hadn't done musical theater for 20 years or more. And so the very first time we ever read through that, and you played, what was that? You were Eliza's dad. What was his name?
Alfred P. Doolittle.
That's right. And so you played Alfred, and Alfred had a Cockney accent, and So we're reading through this for the very first time in Mike Frazier's living room, and I'm stumbling through the lines, and Ken over here is reading. You had played his part before, if I remember right. Before.
Never, but I've been in the show before, but I hadn't played that part. But I've played lots of Cockney characters.
Yeah, and so you were reading his lines in the full-blown Cockney accent, and I'm like, really? Come on, man. I tell you, I felt like, if there was a way I could have gotten out of it, or there would have been someone else to play that part, I probably would have said, nah, this is way over my head. So
yeah, it's a scary thing, but you did a great job. It was a really fun production.
Yeah. Well, so then I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, and so give us a few voices. I guess start with Cockney, maybe a few accents. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. If I put on the Cockney, it's all about placement, and so I start talking like this, and then I keep talking and I keep saying things like, maybe I'll go to the store tomorrow, or maybe I won't. I don't know. So it's all about where you put your voice.
So now do an English accent.
You mean a proper British accent?
There we go. Yeah.
The interesting thing about the British is they put all the words at the front of their mouth, and they move their mouth so much more than Americans do. That's because Americans in general are so lazy.
Hey, the British don't have toothbrushes though. At least
no, they don't. They don't need them.
You take a jab at the Americans. I got a couple British buddies that, trying to understand some of the like really tough ones, like people that are from like closer to like Scotland. Ooh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ooh. Can't understand them half the time.
Yep, and that's one accent I've never been able to really master is the Scottish, or believe it or not, I have a hard time with the Australian accent because it's very close to the English British accent, and so I just haven't had enough experience to really do it fluidly.
And there's a couple different Australian accents. There's the bush people, and then you got the more like city folk, like the Sydney area, and then you got like New South Wales, who sound like like some of them sound like they just came out of the bush.
Yep, exactly.
So do another one. You have another one in your pocket?
Let's see. Well, if I wanted to say that I was from Paris, I could say that I love to eat bread and lots of stinky cheese, and it is a wonderful thing to live in Paris. Those are my best ones, I think.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you. And I just enjoyed getting to know you so much.
Thank you.
Because not only are you just brilliant and talented, but you and your wife just contribute such a great amount to our local culture. And
thank you.
Just love it. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So you are here. So you guys have a show coming up this weekend.
We do.
Talk to us. Tell us what's happening.
Well, okay. I don't know if people realize this. If you're not in theater, it's probably not as been as a big a deal for you. But we haven't had live theater really anywhere in the country for almost 18 months. I mean, even Broadway closed, and there were no Broadway shows for more than a year and a half. And so last spring, when we were starting to come out of COVID, there's a company called Music Theater International, and they control the licenses of a ton of musicals. And they sent us an email saying, because we want to celebrate the reopening of theater, live theater, we're putting together this musical review, and we're going to give it to people free of charge, because normally we have to pay a royalty for every production or every performance that we do. And so we thought that would be a great way to start off our season. It's also the first live theatrical production or performing arts production in our newly renovated McKenzie Theater. And so we really jumped on it. It's called All Together Now. And basically what it is it's a group of musical theater numbers that all talk about, well, the past was behind us, now let's move forward. It's time to seize the day. You know, this is the moment. It's time to, you know, put the past behind us and move on to the future. And the way they set it up is they gave us 15 song slots, and then they gave us 2 or 3 choices for each slot. So we went through and found the songs that we thought fit what we wanted to say the best. And so that's what we've ended up with is our production of All Together Now.
So then you could choose. So let me say that again. So you had 15 slots, 15 songs that you could do during the show,
right.
And they gave you an option of 2 or 3 songs for each slot.
Right.
And so then you could kind of pick and choose,
yep.
maybe the ones that were within your ability and with what you guys felt like you could do well, and then also what the message that kind of came together in some kind of a program. Yeah.
It was interesting because if you looked at the different options, you had one option that was a little more somber, and the theme was kind of like, oh, we've really suffered, this is really bad, you know. And then the other side was, yeah, we've been through something terrible, but now it's time to start again. It's time to renew, time to, you know, get our hopes open again and start doing stuff again. And that's the one that we chose to follow.
Well, cool. And it was, and this is a combination. So you're doing this with the music department also?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So talk a little bit about who's involved.
The entire choir, Peter Wardelman's EOU choir is involved. They're all the cast members. Last year we did a production. We did a radio show in cooperation with the music department because they're in the same boat that we were in. They haven't been able to perform either. And so we got together and we thought this would be a great idea because it's a bunch of music, and so who better than the music department to work with to do the production. So because they're offering it to us free of royalty, we're using it as a fundraiser. So all of the proceeds go back into the theater department and into the music department to help with our costs.
That's cool.
And so then are you doing costumes and choreography? And so talk to about what's the other stuff that you're doing along with those numbers?
And that's an interesting idea because we have numbers from Beauty and the Beast.
Right.
We have numbers from Newsies. We have numbers from Into the Woods. All of those shows are normally very costume heavy. But as we looked at it, we decided that we didn't want to necessarily, you have to do songs from a musical. That's what it is. But we weren't going to really be emphasizing the musical itself. So what we've done is we've basically set it in contemporary times. And so the actors will be wearing costumes, but they'll be costumes that most of them come out of their own closets, clothes that they would normally wear. We have a couple of less or more formal costumes for some of the numbers, but they're all contemporary style. Because that's basically what this message is that, you know, this is something that we're dealing with today. So you know, you'll be able to see, well, maybe you won't. We actually have our first dress rehearsal tonight, so I'll see what you're going to see tonight. But basically it'll look like people dressed up in normal clothing performing. One of the fun things that we did, for example, is everybody's familiar with Be Our Guest from Beauty and the Beast. Well, we decided to set it in a New York restaurant, and they've been closed for 18 months and haven't been able to serve anyone. And so the maitre d' comes marching in to the staff and saying, it's time, we're opening up the restaurant. And so basically we set the number in a New York restaurant. So because that's much more timely than setting it in a castle in France in whatever decade it was or century. Wow. But yeah, so We're using a brand new lighting system. That's one of the things that was included in the renovation of the Mackenzie Theater. We have lights now that you can change their color instantaneously. Not something we could do before. Before you had to take a colored gel and put it in the light and shine the light through it, and it stayed that color no matter what. Now we can actually change the color of the lights. The lights are all LEDs, and so they don't overheat. And so we're really excited. All of the seats have been replaced in the theater. We brought the sound booth down to the main auditorium space. That's awesome. Yeah. So it's easier for people to hear what it really sounds like when you're in the theater. So we've got a lot of innovations that we're using for the first time, which is a great thing. But at the same time, there's a learning curve. So we're learning how to use a lot of this equipment for the first time. And so it's been a little bit slow going at times because of that.
Wow, that's very cool. It sounds so tell us some of the other songs that are a part of the show.
Let's see. I was saying Be Our Guest. Then we have a song from the musical Jekyll and Hyde, This Is the Moment. We have a song from Newsies, Seize the Day. You can catch a theme here. We have a song from a musical, the Sister Act of the musical. I don't know if you ever knew that was made into a Broadway musical called Spread the Love. Our closing number is from Hairspray, You Can't Stop the Beat. So, so it's just a bunch of songs, some of them less well known, some of them really well known. Most people have heard of Sit Down, You're Rocking the Boat from Guys and Dolls. Most people have heard Seasons of Love from Rent. So it's just a real nice selection of songs that talk about positive things. And so it's pretty exciting.
Wow. Well, that sounds cool. So how can people get tickets and stuff, Ken?
You know what? Because it's a newly renovated theater, we also have a new ticket system. And you can get tickets online, but the website is really complex, or the icon is I'll give it to you, and then I'll tell you the easiest way. It's www.tix.com/ticket-sales /tix TIX backspace 6521. Anyway, we will eventually link that to our website, the theater and music website, and you'll just be able to go there from there. Right now, the best thing is to get the tickets at the door. Okay. We'll have some available. You come in the night of the show, you go to the box office, and they'll have tickets available. It's general seating. Usually for our theatrical productions, we have reserved seating. But this is it's just easier, and because our ticket program and box office aren't totally up to speed yet. You can also call the box office and make reservations. There we go. There's the website. It's, like I said, it's not easy to find by just typing in the name. If you want to call and reserve tickets, you can call at 541-962-3757. So it's 962-3757. And we just hired a new box office staff, so they're not officially there yet. So they'll have to call you back when they get the message. But yeah.
Well, and we put this information in the comments too.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's linked in the comments.
Yeah, so people will be able to find that.
That's perfect. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds very cool. So, talk to us about what other things are you guys planning on? What's your season looking like, Ken? What are you guys wanting to do?
It's interesting because we didn't plan it this way, but we're ending up this year doing 3 musical theater productions. Of course, there's All Together Now, which is playing this weekend. And then in March, we're doing a small musical called Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder. And it's a musical that was on Broadway about 6 or 7 years ago. and won the Tony Award for Best Musical. And we're doing it in the Schwartz Theater as the inaugural production of the newly renovated Schwartz Theater. And so, you know, it's a story about an Englishman who finds out that his mother was a disowned daughter of an earl, and that he's eighth in line to become the next Earl of Highhurst. And he discovers that he decides that he's going to kill off all of the other 8 people that stand in his way from the earldom. And so that's what the musical is about. Sounds a little macabre, but it's not. It's a total comedy. And then in May, we'll be presenting the musical Rent, which is just a totally different type of show. It's very much more contemporary music, and so those are the 3 big shows we're doing this year.
Nice.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's great fun. The nice thing about the winter musical, A Gentleman's Guide, the Schwartz Theater is now the only university theater in the Pacific Northwest to have a turntable.
I heard about this.
Yeah, we actually have a turntable that's embedded in the floor, so we can spin the scenery around to go from scene to scene. And we're really excited about using that.
How big is that turntable, Ken?
I think it's about 20 feet across.
Wow.
What do they call it? Diameter?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell I'm a theater person, not a math person. But yeah, and there are varying speeds. You can turn it either direction. It's going to be exciting to use. I'm excited to direct the show on it.
Yeah, and for people that don't quite understand that, you build a set kind of like cutting a piece of pie in half.
Right.
And so on that line you build a set,
right,
and it has 2 faces.
Yep.
Or
or even more. Yeah.
Or I suppose yeah. So while the one that is not showing, you can set up another set on the
backside.
I suppose, yeah. Yes, on the backside as it's not showing, and then when it flips,
yep.
So you don't have to close the curtain, or maybe you do, yeah.
You just spin it around, and
yeah.
Part of the magic is watching it spin around and discover what the new scenery is going to be. So that's part of the fun.
No, that sounds incredible.
Yeah.
Well, fun. Well, Ken, man, thanks so much for coming on. And
could I share just one other thing? Yeah. This is the really interesting thing about this weekend's production is it's being presented only this weekend. And so what's happened is there are over 2,500 theaters in the United States. Every state is producing this show, plus 40 different countries. They say there's going to be more than 5,500 performances of this show, to almost or more than 1 million people over this same weekend. So all across the world, everyone's going to be sharing this same experience. So we find that really exciting to be able to do something like that.
So, yeah. So then the coordination with the licensing company is that this is the window that you have to perform these shows.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
These are the days. These are the songs. We couldn't change the order. It had to be performed in the order that they gave us. They gave us little slots for, speeches, introductory speeches, and some history, a little bit of history speech about the theater. And so it was a little bit controlled in that sense. But when you don't have to pay $4,000 or $5,000 to produce the show, it's worth the little bit of hassle that we've had to go through.
And then, are you doing this with a band, or are these recorded tracks? How are you?
Yeah, they're recorded tracks. That was part of the requirement. We do have 3 of the numbers that we're using the music department's brand new grand piano. No. So we're just we thought that would be a good way to showcase the piano. 3 of the slower and softer songs that didn't require a whole orchestra to accompany it we're using the piano. And Mio Awike is our accompanist, and anyone who's seen her work, she's amazing.
Fantastic.
So, so it really showcases the talent that we have in the theater and music department. It's going to be a great show. I'm really looking forward to it.
And tell us the dates again of the show.
Okay.
And
it
times.
opens on Friday, November 12th at 7 p.m. It plays again on Saturday, November 13th at 7 p.m. And then on Monday the 15th, we're having what originally was planned to be a high school matinee. But if someone couldn't come the other nights, they could come Monday at noon. And we're having a matinee performance, and they'd be able to get in and see the show then as well. So we're doing 3 performances in the newly renovated Mackenzie Theater. We're not selling all the tickets because you have to stay masked when you come to the theater, and we are doing social distancing, so we're only selling half the house. So we're selling about 218 seats per show. But yeah, so we really would love to see as many patrons out. You know, one of the things we mentioned is that Eastern Oregon University has been doing theater for over 75 years.
Wow.
Here in La Grande, and the pandemic was really, as far as I know, the first time that theater totally closed down here at Eastern. Even during the war, they had little productions that they presented, and so we're very excited to be able to be back live performing on stage once again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
Yeah, hopefully we can, Tanya and I can come to one of those shows. It sounds like something would be awesome. And one of the guys that works here for us, Logan Flynn.
Right.
I think he's in one of those shows. I think he's been.
Yeah, he's got the solo in Seize the Day from Newsies. So
cool.
Yep.
All righty.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
You bet.
All right.
And hang around for just a few minutes, Ken, and I'll talk to you after the show.
All right. Excellent.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, man.
BC, what did Yoda say when he saw himself for the first time in 4K? First time he saw himself on a 4K screen, what did Yoda say?
What did Yoda say?
Yeah, HDMI.
That's what he said. HDMI.
That's taken way too long for you to get.
So,
that
okay,
one.
but yeah. So wait, but go back. Yoda.
The first time he saw himself in 4K, what did he say?
I don't know. You're saying he said HDMI?
Yeah.
HDMI.
No. Yeah. HDMI.
Oh
my goodness. God. Let's go to this day. On this day. On this day, November 9th, 1858 was the very first performance of the New York Symphony Orchestra. On this day, 1872, the Great Fire of Boston, right around 1,000 buildings were destroyed in that fire. That's a big fire. In 1984, Wes Craven's horror film A Nightmare on Elm Street premiered in the United States. And then in 2020, it's the busiest Atlantic hurricane season ever. But we didn't really hear much about it because we were in the middle of a pandemic, which is crazy. Tropical Storm Theta was named the record 29th storm of 2020 in the Atlantic hurricane season. That's a lot of storms. The number one song on this day. What do you think the number one song on this day in 1981 was, BC?
1981.
Yeah.
I should know it, but I have no idea.
Private Eyes by Hall & Oates.
Your pride, no. Is that it?
I don't know.
No. Maybe I'm thinking of a different song.
Quote for the day: "A winner is a dream who never gives up. A winner is a dreamer who never gives up." Nelson Mandela. Boom. Let's get out of here.
All right. So on Thursday, we will have a veteran with us on Thursday morning. And then the Veterans Day parade is on Thursday at noon. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you then.